Zion, folks, you can see he's put on some pounds, man. He's got to get that weight off.
Look like me and Shaq had a baby.
He's a great, skilled player, but that is not basketball shape.
Zion Lateef Williamson, born July 6, 2000. 3 reasons Zion Williamson will not be the next LeBron. Let's face it, the NBA Zion Williamson project will not go as they hoped. It's no secret that the NBA needs a young star, with LeBron James nearing the last handful of years as a top 5 basketball player, and maybe even in the NBA at all. Although, if it's anyone in sports not named Tom Brady that could push the age boundaries and surpass his expected retirement date, it's LeBron James. LeBron was literally built to do it. He was initially blessed in the gene pool with perfect height for where the game was going as a tall, athletic wing, even though his parents, as much as we know of them, weren't blessed in that area at all. His mother only stands at 5'5", and his father's height record's not clearly known, though some say he's 5'7", and others believe him to be a foot taller at 6'7". Height and athleticism in the bag, he became the biggest amateur prodigy of all time, and even today, I've never seen height that matched. He was just around the cutoff age where NBA players could go straight to the NBA from high school, and took advantage of that opportunity by being physically blessed, and most importantly, he had all the internal factors you can teach to complete his chance at living up to the expectations. Things like he genuinely seems to love basketball and is a student of it as well. He's a hard worker that's completely devoted to his craft and holds basketball unquestionably first in his life, even though he's a married man and has a family. The NBA needed another Hooperstar athlete, as I like to call it, which are the few players in history that were even above superstar level and reached larger-than-life sports status. Finally, LeBron turned out to be great. He had the storied career the NBA needed after Jordan to battle Kobe in the new era as the small Midwest town kid drafted by his home state team, young but exciting. Of course, he went on to supersede all expectations. Nearing the end, the NBA needed another Hooperstar player. Although KD is great and Steph is as well, it still feels that Hooperstar with the it personality to match, that did things never before seen, particularly at a similar position to LeBron, was missing. Along came Zion Williamson at the perfect time. What gave him the potential to be the next Hooperstar was he did bring something we've never seen before with his seemingly perfect mix of leaping ability and size. We've never seen a wing with that size equipped with that speed and quickness until LeBron and since. But Zion was even bigger, with greater vertical. He jumped on the scene with his insane high school highlights, embarrassing competition as a lefty that flew through the air gracefully as if size never mattered. A kid over 215 pounds jumping like that brought many eyes and instant attention. The NBA and fans thought they had their guy, and his hype from then on pegged him as the next LeBron. It's been 4 years since the hype started, and for a large part, Zion's play is meeting expectations. When he's on the floor, at least. But I've always had the feeling the NBA and Zion himself, knowingly or unknowingly, dropped the ball on his chances of being next up, and here we are. Nearing 10 games into the 2021-22 season, and we've yet to see Zion on the floor. What we have seen is a video circulating of an overweight Williamson struggling to do defensive slides and barely able to breathe. At this point, it's clear Zion will not have the career expected and is definitely not the next LeBron. Here's why. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Stunt number 1, the NBA dropped the ball first. If you've been a fan of basketball, in particular the NBA, I'm sure you've heard accusations of it being rigged, as they like to say, and it is. But rigged may be the wrong word. All businesses are rigged, set up as a better term. No one goes into an investment not wanting to make the best possible return on said investment. So they set things up and strategically play their cards, ensuring not only a plus return, but substantial growth over time. The NBA is no different. The confusion lies when fans believe because it's still sports, it should be on equal playing field, like how they remember it in their backyard. Forgetting that yes, it is still sports, but now business is attached to it, and no matter what, we've shown as humans, business supersedes all. So they do or have done things to set up their business, like call in superstars' favor. They fix championship matchups that'll bring the most eyes for the longest period as possible. They change and bend rules constantly, and yes, place players in places they think would make them most successful and be a great story. If somehow they lose that control to the player, they'll just veto it and forget it happened. Zion was the NBA's hottest incoming commodity and was expected to follow in LeBron's footsteps and take the game to a newer, more modern generation of young, high-flying athletes with an it personality. LeBron was placed perfectly, as was Derrick Rose and Kevin Durant, and the NBA thought placing Zion on a team like New Orleans, who they've been closely watching and trying to build up since Katrina, was a great idea. A southern market large enough to gravitate around a Hooperstar, historic, beautiful, new, and in a state that could use the attention and business a star athlete and personality can bring. I've always felt the league should have just fixed it to where Zion ended up in New York, like many thought and expected. He was perfect for that stage. The timing was right, them not having had a superstar player since Patrick Ewing, and later the failed Carmelo Anthony experience. His always positive, always smiling, young but mature personality was made for box office, made for New York. Instead, the ping pong ball's red New York would pick third, leaving two teams the NBA desperately want to succeed at the top in Memphis and of course New Orleans. At the time, it was a no-brainer who to take between he and Ja Morant, and when he has been on the floor, he's been special. Ja went on to win Rookie of the Year in an injured Zion Williamson first season, but Zion became an All-Star first, has the higher career total and higher ceiling. Ja playing more games, 137 to 85, and looking to have the healthier career. The NBA got it wrong. Ja with Ingram would be nasty, and of course, Zion in a bigger market would force him to work harder, and with better and quicker access to medicine, he may have even been healthier in New York. Stunt number 2, Zion's health and weight issues. I don't think there's anyone who's covered, analyzed, or even watched Zion that didn't have concerns about him staying healthy long enough to fulfill his promise. Yes, it was exciting to see a kid this advanced in his body since high school and throughout college that ran and jumped like Williamson, but physically, historically, we've all never known that to work. The part that intrigues us about Zion is the very thing that scares you. He can't be that big and play a long time carrying and landing at that weight while exploding that high. It's not physically possible. LeBron came the closest, but even he's of slender build, diets right, and is invested in his body. Williamson seems to have a natural weight issue, along with a seeming love for food and snacks. In his first year, 24 games, he looked amazing. In fact, he had an historic first NBA game. 22 points, 8 for 11 from the field, 4 for 4 from 3, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. Year 2, he was even better, making the All-Star team and averaging an insane 27 points a game and 7 rebounds. But he's missed most of his first season to injury, barely played 60 games last season, and has yet to play this year, looking like it'll take at least a year for him to be in the shape he'll need to be to validate expectations. With his extensive injury history, I don't see him ever playing 82 games and probably forced to retire early due to weight and health issues. Stunt number 3, work ethic and want to be great. Is Zion Williamson talented enough to be a great NBA player? No question. Will his health allow him to be? Doubtful. Will his NBA market hinder him from hooper stardom? Likely, but he'll have the control very soon to change that, so no. Does he have the work ethic to be a young guy living in one of the food capitals of America with clear weight issues stemming from a young age that may be genetic to say to himself, I won't let this happen? LeBron invests $1 million a year on his body. I need at least 2. I'm gonna make a strict diet plan, the best chefs, trainers, and doctors so I can give myself the best chance to stay on the floor. I don't think he has that. And to know that, just look at his history. Because he's been injured so often, it doesn't always allow him to train enough to keep his weight down. Being injured can also be depressing and lonely, which leads to eating to cope in some instances, clearly in Zion's. And him being the most hype athlete since LeBron, #1 pick, all the expectations and spotlight in the world, but still never addressing his weight issues, it may be safe to say his work ethic is poor. No matter your genetic history, with the resources Zion has, there's no way he should ever be 300 plus pounds under no circumstances. Forget his injuries. If he wants to be in shape, there's ways his earnings afford him to do so. All in all, I think the Zion Williamson experience and comparison to LeBron is in grave jeopardy. As he gets older, I don't see him staying healthy with all the weight fluctuations he has and the injury history, in particular to his lower extremities he's suffered. Most importantly, I think I've seen enough to believe his work ethic is his biggest Achilles heel. Will he prove me wrong and have a long career? Maybe, but again, highly unlikely. Salute to Zion, he could be a great player, but for these reasons, the next LeBron? No sir. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.